Avul Pakir Jainulabdeen Abdul Kalam October 15, 1931 July 27, 2015, was an Indian aerospace scientist who served as the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007. He was born and raised in Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu, and studied physics and aerospace engineering. He spent the next 4 decades as a scientist and science administrator, mainly at the Defence Research and Development Organisation, DRDO, an Indian Space Research Organisation, ISRO, and was intimately involved in India's civilian space program and military missile development efforts. He thus came to be known as the Missile Man of India for his work on the development of ballistic missile and launch vehicle technology. He also played a pivotal organizational, technical, and political role in India's Pokhran II nuclear tests in 1998, the first since the original nuclear test by India in 1974. Kalem was elected as the 11th President of India in 2002 with the support of both the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party and the then opposition Indian National Congress. Widely referred to as the People's President, he returned to his civilian life of education, writing and public service after a single term. He was a recipient of several prestigious awards, including the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian honour. While delivering a lecture at the Indian Institute of Management Shillong, Kalem collapsed and died from an apparent cardiac arrest on July 27, 2015, aged 83. Thousands, including national-level dignitaries, attended the funeral ceremony held in his hometown of Rameswaram, where he was buried with full state honours. Early life and education. Avul Pakir Jainulabdeen Abdul Kalam was born on October 15, 1931 to a Tamil Muslim family in the pilgrimage centre of Rameswaram on Pamban Island, then in the Madras Presidency and now in the state of Tamil Nadu. His father Jainulabdeen Murakayar was a boat owner and imam of a local mosque. His mother Ashima was a housewife. His father owned a ferry that took Hindu pilgrims back and forth between Rameswaram and the now uninhabited Dhanushkodi. Kalem was the youngest of 4 brothers and 1 sister in his family. His ancestors had been wealthy Murakayar traders and landowners, with numerous properties and large tracts of land. Even though his ancestors had been wealthy Murakayar traders, the family had lost most of its fortunes by the 1920s and was poverty-stricken by the time Kalem was born. Murakayar are a Muslim ethnic found in coastal Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka who claim descendants from Arab traders and local women. Their business had involved trading groceries between the mainland and the island and to and from Sri Lanka, as well as ferrying pilgrims between the mainland and Pamban. As a young boy he had to sell newspapers in order to add to the family's meager income. With the opening of the Pamban Bridge to the mainland in 1914, however, the businesses failed and the family fortune and properties were lost over time, apart from the ancestral home. In his school years, Kalem had average grades but was described as a bright and hard-working student who had a strong desire to learn. He spent hours on his studies, especially mathematics. After completing his education at the Schwartz Higher Secondary School, Ramanathapuram, Kalem went on to attend St. Joseph's College, Tiruchirappalli, then affiliated with the University of Madras, from where he graduated in physics in 1954. He moved to Madras in 1955 to study aerospace engineering in Madras Institute of Technology. While Kalem was working on a senior class project, the dean was dissatisfied with his lack of progress and threatened to revoke his scholarship unless the project was finished within the next 3 days. Kalem met the deadline, impressing the dean, who later said to him, "I was putting you under stress and asking you to meet a difficult deadline." He narrowly missed achieving his dream of becoming a fighter pilot, as he placed 9th in qualifiers, and only 8 positions were available in the IAF. Personal life. Kalem was the youngest of 5 siblings, the eldest of whom was a sister, Asim Zohra, d. 1997, followed by 3 elder brothers, Mohammad Muthu Miralebe Marai Kr., November 5, 1916 to March 7, 2021, Mustafa Kalem, d. 1999, and Qasim Mohammed, d. 1995. He was extremely close to his elder siblings and their extended families throughout his life, and would regularly send small sums of money to his older relations, himself remaining a lifelong bachelor. Kalem was noted for his integrity and his simple lifestyle. He never owned a television, and was in the habit of rising at 6:30 or 7 a.m. and sleeping by 2 a.m. His few personal possessions included his books, his veena, some articles of clothing, a CD player and a laptop. At his death, he left no will, and his possessions went to his eldest brother, who survived him. Career as a scientist. This was my first stage, in which I learnt leadership from three great teachers: Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, Professor Satish Dhawan and Dr. Brahm Prakash. This was the time of learning and acquisition of knowledge for me. APJ Abdul Kalam. After graduating from the Madras Institute of Technology in 1960, Kalem joined the Aeronautical Development Establishment of the Defence Research and Development Organisation, by Press Information Bureau, Government of India, as a scientist after becoming a member of the Defence Research and Development Service, DRDS. He started his career by designing a small hovercraft, but remained unconvinced by his choice of a job at DRDO. Kalem was also part of the INCOSPAR committee working under Vikram Sarabhai, the renowned space scientist. In 1969, Kalem was transferred to the Indian Space Research Organisation, ISRO, where he was the project director of India's first satellite launch vehicle, SLV-3, which successfully deployed the Rohini satellite in near-Earth orbit in July 1980. Kalem had first started work on an expandable rocket project independently at DRDO in 1965. In 1969, Kalem received the government's approval and expanded the program to include more engineers. In 1963 to 1964, he visited NASA's Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, and Wallops Flight Facility. Between the 1970s and 1990s, Kalem made an effort to develop the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, PSLV, and SLV-3 projects, both of which proved to be successful. Kalem was invited by Raja Ramanna to witness the country's first nuclear test, Smiling Buddha as the representative of TBRL, even though he had not participated in its development. In the 1970s, Kalem also directed two projects, Project Devil and Project Valiant, which sought to develop ballistic missiles from the technology of the successful SLV program. Despite the disapproval of the Union Cabinet, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi allotted secret funds for these aerospace projects through her discretionary powers under Kalem's directorship. Kalem played an integral role convincing the Union Cabinet to conceal the true nature of these classified aerospace projects. His research and educational leadership brought him great laurels and prestige in the 1980s, which prompted the government to initiate an advanced missile program under his directorship. Kalem and Dr. V.S. Abdul Kalam, metallurgist and scientific advisor to the Defense Minister, worked on the suggestion by the then Defense Minister, R. Venkataraman, on a proposal for simultaneous development of a quiver of missiles instead of taking planned missiles one after another. R. Venkataraman was instrumental in getting the cabinet approval for allocating $3.88 billion for the mission, named Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, IGMEP, and appointed Kalem as the chief executive. Kalem played a major part in developing many missiles under the mission, including Agni, an intermediate-range ballistic missile, and Prithvi, the tactical surface-to-surface missile, although the projects have been criticized for mismanagement and cost and time overruns. Kalem served as the chief scientific advisor to the Prime Minister and Secretary of the Defense Research and Development Organization from July 1992 to December 1999. The Pokhran II nuclear tests were conducted during this period, in which he played an intensive political and technological role. Kalem served as the chief project coordinator, along with Rajagopala Chidambaram, during the testing phase. Media coverage of Kalem during this period made him the country's best-known nuclear scientist. However, the director of the site test, K. Santhanam, said that the thermonuclear bomb had been a fizzle and criticized Kalem for issuing an incorrect report. Both Kalem and Chidambaram dismissed the claims. In 1998, along with cardiologist Soma Raju, Kalem developed a low-cost coronary stent, named the Kalem Raju stent, In 2012, the duo designed a rugged tablet computer for healthcare in rural areas, which was named the Kalem Rayu tablet. Presidency. Presidential styles of APJ Abdul Kalam. Spoken style. President Abdul Kalam. Alternative style. Mr. President. Kalam served as the 11th President of India, succeeding K.R. Narayanan. He won the 2002 presidential election with an electoral vote of 922,884, surpassing the 107,366 votes won by Lakshmi Sahgal. His term lasted from July 25, 2002 to July 25, 2007. On June 10, 2002, the National Democratic Alliance, NDA, which was in power at the time, expressed that they would nominate Kalam for the post of president, and both the Samajwadi Party and the Nationalist Congress Party backed his candidacy. After the Samajwadi Party announced its support for Kalam, Narayanan chose not to seek a second term in office, leaving the field clear. Kalam said of the announcement of his candidature, "I am really overwhelmed. Everywhere, both in internet and in other media, I have been asked for a message. I was thinking what message I can give to the people of the country at this juncture." On June 18, Kalam filed his nomination papers in the Indian Parliament, accompanied by Vajpayee and his senior cabinet colleagues. Kalam along with Vladimir Putin and Manmohan Singh during his presidency. The polling for the presidential election began on July 15, 2002 in Parliament and the state assemblies, with the media claiming that the election was a one-sided affair and Kalam's victory was a foregone conclusion. The count was held on July 18. Kalam became the 11th President of the Republic of India in an easy victory, and moved into the Rashtrapati Bhavan after he was sworn in on July 25. Kalam was the third President of India to have been honoured with a Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian honour, before becoming the President Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, 1954, and Zakir Hussain, 1963, were the earlier recipients of Bharat Ratna who later became the President of India. He was also the first scientist and the first bachelor to occupy Rashtrapati Bhavan. During his term as President, he was affectionately known as the People's President, saying that signing the Office of Prophet Bill was the toughest decision he had taken during his tenure. Kalam was criticized for his inaction in deciding the fate of 20 out of the 21 mercy petitions submitted to him during his tenure. Article 72 of the Constitution of India empowers the President of India to grant pardons and suspend or commute the death sentence of convicts on death row. Kalam acted on only one mercy plea in his 5-year tenure as President, rejecting the plea of rapist Dhananjay Chatterjee, who was later hanged. Perhaps the most notable plea was from Afzal Guru, a Kashmiri terrorist who was convicted of conspiracy in the December 2001 attack on the Indian Parliament and was sentenced to death by the Supreme Court of India in 2004. While the sentence was scheduled to be carried out on October 20, 2006, the pending action on his mercy plea resulted in him remaining on death row. He also took the controversial decision to impose President's rule in Bihar in 2005. In September 2003, in an interactive session in PGI Chandigarh, Kalam supported the need of uniform civil code in India, keeping in view the population of the country. At the end of his term, on June 20, 2007, Kalam expressed his willingness to consider a second term in office provided there was certainty about his victory in the 2007 presidential election. However, 2 days later, he decided not to contest the presidential election again, stating that he wanted to avoid involving Rashtrapati Bhavan from any political processes. He did not have the support of the left parties, Shiv Sena and UPA constituents, to receive a renewed mandate. Nearing the expiry of the term of the 12th President Pratibha Patil on July 24, 2012, media reports in April claimed that Kalam was likely to be nominated for his second term. After the reports, social networking sites witnessed a number of people supporting his candidature. The BJP potentially backed his nomination, saying that the party would lend their support if the Trinamool Congress, Samajwadi Party, and Indian National Congress proposed him for the 2012 presidential election. A month ahead of the election, Mulayam Singh Yadav and Mamata Banerjee also expressed their support for Kalem. Days afterwards, Mulayam Singh Yadav backed out, leaving Mamata Banerjee as the solitary supporter. On June 18, 2012, Kalem declined to contest the 2012 presidential poll. He said of his decision not to do so, Many citizens have also expressed the same wish. It only reflects their love and affection for me and the aspiration of the people. I am really overwhelmed by this support. This being their wish, I respect it. I want to thank them for the trust they have in me. Please like and subscribe to my channel, is correct. For more infotainment, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks for watching. Yours Jelly Santosh Kumar.